Okay, welcome back to part 2 of this scene. I just got done with the composition and all of these 4 blue tones here and a black. And I'm going to add a slight variation to the temperature here in the form of a pale green. This is Marvy. I don't want to add it everywhere, but I thought if I add some of this, sometimes you can add a little bit of green to, blue tones, and it can create a little bit of a glow, just by going into, like if you look on a color wheel, colors that are right next to each other are called analogous colors, green and blue, and if you put those together right next to each other, in this case we're layering it over one another, but analogous colors create a color glow, and that's what I want to do here. After all, we kind of have a glowing moon. Why not bring some of that up into the sky as well? And it just might bring some, a little bit of variation to the scene, which looked okay, just blue, but I thought it needed something. You really needed to infuse a little bit of, something extra into the scene. Okay, so anyways, that's pale green there. I went with pale green because, anything brighter, I don't want it like a forest green or something like that. Okay, let's see here. Alright, now, in the previous video I was talking about how there, you can't really see too many different colors. This is a real pale, tan type of color. I thought, let's flesh the scene in a little bit more with, some... I was thinking about it mostly on this cabin right there. I just added it right now, and I thought, I kind of like that. Let's add a little bit more of it down here. I kind of like that. That looks actually really good. This is an alcohol base marker. Le Plume permanent quick drying ink. What I like about these types of pens, that come in a lot of different values is you can start very light and just work darker incrementally, or if you're working with like a different paper that's conducive to it, you can blend on there just fine, and it looks really good, and it's kind of fun to do. I don't know what color this is. Looks like a grayish tan or something, gray-brown. Add it to the side of the cabin. Kind of turning the cabin in space, not physically, but just kind of making it a little bit more dimensional. Why not bring some of that color down into some of the rocks, bringing a little bit of continuity to the scene in terms of colors that are repeating. Alright, and let's see. A little bit of a steel gray color here. You can really get down into this kind of creek area and work around a lot of things that aren't easy to work around, with the stylus tool. Kind of getting into some of these detailed areas. Okay, I like that treatment a little bit better than how it was before, just with the stylus tool. I think this is bringing some nice variation into the scene. It's blue. Let's see, why not add some of this to this rooftop, maybe side of the cabin. Okay. All right. Now, as I was looking at this, I was going to kind of go with, I mean, this is basically, the same composition right here, but, now that I'm doing this one, I thought, well, let's change it up slightly. Let's have some larger pine tree in the foreground to kind of reiterate what's going on in the background with those pine trees. I think this foreground tree will add some depth, and will frame the scene nicely. Could have been done right in the beginning, but you kind of never know what's going to happen during a scene too, or something might occur to you later to add it in, and that's quite often what happens. I'll be working on something, I'll decide later, oh, I want to use, that would look good with, such and such a stamp or color or whatnot. Okay. And I always have the kind of a lead in. I leave room for the the viewer's eye to enter a scene, so kind of leave a little hole for them to get through into the scene. It's kind of like a visual lead-in, just having a space in there. Okay. Let's sit in here, take a look at those trees, those pine trees. All right. Okay, let's add in some additional effects. Always love my white gel pen. Okay. Let's go in and address some of these rocks in here that were colored over with the stylus tool. I didn't want to work around every little rock, so it's kind of a way to go back in and reintroduce those shapes back into the scene just by pulling them out again with the white pen. The white pen, it's gel, so there's a little bit of dimension to it too. When it dries, so it's always kind of a nice touch. I'm trying to think of some other types of effects people have done for snow. I'm trying to think of this one product that people were using for snow sometimes, and it was kind of puffy, and it was like a white, it wasn't really paint, I don't think, I don't know. Probably a lot of you know what it is, but I can't think of it right now, but that was kind of a neat thing to use too. I mean, I saw it on a lot of samples, like on a website or something like that, but, if they photographed it or, scanner kind of caught it, it was always kind of nice to see that dimension, kind of a three-dimensional touch to an otherwise two-dimensional project. It was kind of subtle. Okay, going in here into some of the snow, and naturally ice and snow is very reflective and shiny, so it's a perfect opportunity to add some of those types of touches to the scene. Let me zoom in here so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. More dots in lighter areas, and as it moves off like that into the darkness, space your dots out a little bit more. Okay, down here on the water, on the water's edge. Okay, up here on those trees. Let's see with these trees right here. Let's see if I can get this on the video. Adding some highlights to on the side of the branches facing the light. Adding some little highlights. Kind of reiterates the lighting direction, which direction the lighting is coming from. So on the sides of some of these trees, I will put some little highlights to pull them out from the background. Now, here's this really dark tree right here. Let's try to pull that out of the background a little bit. Okay, now that's on the left side of the tree on that side. How about on this side? See this branch right here? There's a tree on the branches facing the moonlight. Okay, here's this, even this lower one down here. Put a little on that as well. Okay, it's kind of coming to life, isn't it? I don't know, some stars over that way. No, you won't be able to see stars in a full moon, but, you know, who cares? It's just texture. Okay, let's pull this this little fence out from the background. Yeah, it gets very dark back there, so you can kind of pull it out a little bit. And it really kind of pulls that fence out right there from the background, doesn't it? Highlights on some of that tree. Okay. Color box pigment ink. I gotta get this done quickly here before I run out of time. How about some? This is the one that everyone always kind of says, hey, you know, I can't do that frost thing. I'm just going with a very light touch with this, okay? It's very... Now, my color box pad isn't very wet right now, so this is making it easier, but if you're using a wet pad, you know, really juicy with ink, then just kind of lightly dab in there and dab some of it off before you start going in here. And see, with a few touches like that, you can't really see, you know, anything. So that's the consistency you want. You want to go like that. There's very little, and then you just kind of keep adding more. You can remove some with your finger like that. Add some of that glowing mist around on the trees. And don't try to add this in, well, I don't know, you could, but I wouldn't try to add it in too dark of an area. Okay? Otherwise it just stands out and it kind of looks awkward sometimes. For me it does, at least. You know, because in a dark area too, in theory, you know, you wouldn't see too much illumination, you know, because what this mist is supposed to be is illuminated kind of vapor, you know, mist in the air being illuminated by some light that's creeping in there. Yeah, just right around that shoreline, softening up some areas where light meets dark, right around that rock. And the rock was looking a little, I mean, the rock was looking fine, but going in here and adding that little mist around it like that, it just softens